Today we're going to set up the television set. I'm not sure if I have enough cables or all the correct cables, so we may have to kind of patch this together and then make some changes later on after I find the correct cables or order some new ones, but we should be able to do enough here just to get it to work for now. So here's the television set. It's the Dole television set. It's fairly large. It's got to be at least 40 or so inches. I don't think it's quite 50, maybe, I don't know. And then in this box here I have some audio equipment. I have a 5.1 receiver and a corresponding sub and the corresponding speakers. I think there's also a tape deck in here too, which is not super relevant to this particular scenario, but it looks kind of cool, so maybe we'll just set it up anyways. Here's the tape deck. It is the Technics tape deck. I don't know what the model number is. Model RSTR232. I have some VCR players and DVD players somewhere. Not over here yet, but they're somewhere, and eventually that's what I'll probably put down here because it would make more sense. But just for now, put that there. And let's get the receiver out of the box here. Now this receiver I've had for a long time. It's a very good receiver. My uncle gave this to me many moons ago. He used to use it at his house in the basement, his old house. And then he moved, and oh, this isn't going to fit there. That stinks. It's going to have to go on the bottom. Anyway, so he moved. Will this fit there? He moved, and I guess he took it with him, but he never set it up again. And after they moved, they adopted children, so I guess life changed and it just was not important anymore. So he wasn't using it, and I remember asking him about it, and he gave it to me, and I used it for quite a few years in my studio, or what became my studio. Was originally just a I don't know, workshop area that I would hang out in. Used to be more of a entertainment room than a studio, but it changed over the years to meet the needs. So I had it in there, and I had it connected up to, it was kind of comical because I had like a, maybe a 20-inch television set, if that. It was really small television set, and this great audio system with this tiny little television. Now, at the time when I had it set up in my, what became the studio room, I did in fact have it configured in a surround sound situation. I had speakers all over the room, and it was an actual 5.1 surround setup. And I believe the way I powered it was, at the time we had cable television still, and we had cable boxes, and the cable box had, it was some kind of an optical out or digitan out port. It was just one wire, and it had the same port on the cable box as it did the receiver, and that was how I connected it, you know, because the cable boxes didn't have, you know, 5.1 analog out. It was It was digital input, that's what it was. It was this port here. It was this digital input port, and that's what I used to get 5.1 audio into this thing from my cable box. You know, and it was only so useful though, because a lot of stuff was not recorded in 5.1. I mean, you had a couple of newer cartoons or something would be in 5.1, but the thing was, if you were playing off the computer or you're playing off of a DVD or VHS, the players that I had were not capable of outputting 5.1. If the stuff was even recorded in 5.1, I don't even know. So it was only so useful, but I remember watching a couple cartoons in 5.1 audio, and it was really cool because it really felt so much more immersive to have those additional 2 speakers in the back of the room. It just was really neat. It delivered a really good media experience. I could set it up again here fairly easily. I mean, all you got to do is put all the wires along that wall, put it behind the couch, and then just put 2 little stands for the speakers behind the couch. Or I could even just put them on the back wall. You know, I could have one in that corner, tack the wire up over there, and have one over there, and that will give me actually a pretty centered, because the couch is about in the middle of the room. That will give me a pretty good 5.1. It'll look a little weird, but it would work. I'm just not sure that it's worth the time and effort though, because I don't have cable television here. I don't have a cable box. So everything I'm going to be playing through the system is just coming out of the computer. And most of it, even at that, is just, you know, home videos like this one, which are only recorded in stereo. They're not recorded in surround sound. So I just don't think that I would ever really use it. So I'm just going to set it up now with all the speakers just on the table, and it'll be enough to use the system for now. See how much tape is on there? Just one small piece to hold it in. That's really all that you need. So we've got 4 speakers like this, and then 1 center speaker. Hopefully I have enough speaker wire, I don't know. So I think that maybe we'll just stick them under there like that. That'll be good enough. Hopefully, I don't know. It's gonna have to do for now. It's not really ideal, but it's something. So, alright, let's get some speaker wire. And I don't have too much, so I'm going to have to be kind of sparing with how much speaker wire I use. Don't have much at all. So we're going to have to go like that. And then like that. There. Yeah. Oh, I guess I will have enough. Alright, cool. I will have enough. So I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do with the video side of things. Most of the computers that I have are from the VGA era. So I think for now I'm going to start out with just a VGA cable. I have a fairly long one that will do sound and video, so we can use that one. I think long term I'll probably end up Oh, oof, there's already a speaker in here. I think long term, I'll probably end up connecting a desktop computer here just so that it's always there and ready to go. And probably want to stay with VGA even then, because when you get into HDMI, you have audio's sources, two different audio sources. You have one going to the analog out, which is what this system takes in, and then you have the digital out going through the HDMI cord, which would send to the TV. And I don't want to send audio to the TV, I want to send audio to the receiver here. So I think most likely we'll probably stay with VGA no matter what. VGA is capable of drawing 1080p, even though some people seem to think that it's not. It absolutely is, and will do so on this television set just fine. I believe this is a 1080p television set. So this is the front left speaker. So this will go in here. I probably could get a computer with a 5.1 surround card, but I'm not sure even then if that's worth anything, because you're still going to run into the situation where the sources that I'm working with are not recorded in in 5.1. They're just recorded in stereo. So you'd be spending all this time and probably money, you have to buy the sound card, to make a configuration work that will probably never be utilized. I'm really not a television watcher. I don't really watch any programs. I just watch stuff on YouTube, and I don't think that YouTube even supports 5.1, even if it was professionally produced. Maybe it does, I don't know, but I've never really tried it. Got a bit of an issue with the center speaker here, and I'm not exactly sure where to put it. I suppose really wanted to put it on top of the amplifier, but it doesn't fit. That stinks. Can't really mount it on top of the TV, that would be a little ludicrous. Well, that kind of sabotages the plan. You know, I think for the sake of practicality, I'm just going to omit the tape deck, because The reality is I would never use it in this configuration. I could use it for other things, but I wouldn't use it as a television. When I replace it with VHS player, it should be thin enough that it would fit under there. And then for now, I mean, this isn't really giving a good configuration for performance necessarily, but we'll just put all the speakers on the second shelf. You know, again, we're just watching home videos on here. It's only recorded in so much quality anyways. As far as the audio is concerned, I don't think that we're really gonna miss out on much. And then someday I'll redo it and, you know, whatever. But for now, I'll just get something that's usable. doesn't fit either. What a freak show this is turning into. This doesn't fit any of the ways that I want to set it up. Well, alright, that's not that big of a deal. I can just put those two speakers on the bottom. Yeah, I'll just put these two on the bottom then. Not ideal, but oh well. Just barely enough speaker oil. We got like a foot and a half left. Okay, now with all the speakers connected, now got the power bar here. Not really sure how I want to arrange the power bar. Oh, camera battery's out, I gotta change it. Okay, I'm back. New battery in the camera. Got an ISO bar here ready to go. I'm gonna slip the ISO bar in over here like this so I can reach the plugs. Because this is the kind of equipment that I like to shut off when I'm not using it, because it eats up power constantly, whether it's on or not, and you know, a bunch of stuff doing that adds up on the bill. So I just like to shut it off, especially something like this. I'm not going to be using this all that often. There's no reason to have it plugged in for days and days and days, eating up little bits of power constantly when I may use it a couple times a week at most. Do the best we can to keep these wires somewhat under control. Now we need a cable for the television set. It just takes like a boombox cord. I think I have one somewhere here. Yep, I got one here. Hopefully it's long enough. It's kind of short. I don't think it's. Actually, you know what? It may be a good length. It just may be. Not bad. It's a pretty good length. Okay. That's that. Now we have to connect the sub. Which I'm not sure what side of the room it should go on. I'll just put it on the left for now. And cosmetically it may be better on the right, but we can change that at any time. There's a power cord here. Maybe that's for the this is actually the kind that the TV calls for. You know, the polarized kind. I think that goes to that tape deck. I'll keep that with the tape deck. This was all, I packed all this up very nicely, and it's paying off now because this has been very easy and frustration free to unpack and set up, which was the objective. And the objective has been achieved. Okay, so here's the sub. So it connects with this cord, just like a component or composite or whatever it is kind of cord. It's a fair bit longer than we need in this case, so I'll leave it mostly raveled up. Try to keep everything here as clean and sightly as possible. This will mostly be invisible from the front, but I still don't want to have a mess back here. I probably have a shorter cable like this somewhere, but exactly where is the problem. Still a lot of stuff to unpack and organize, and it's just going to take time. Alright, so that's that. So now we have to take a look at, actually we have these antennas. I really can't ever fathom listening to AM radio on this thing, so I think I'm just going to leave the antenna down here. Same thing with the FM. I mean, I have the other stereo set up in here, which sounds better, so I really don't see why I would ever listen on here instead. But when I got the remote, we'll set that up in a little while. Or we'll just throw it off the front of the table. Okay, so now we have to look at our audio and video inputs. So for now, I think I'll just use it with a laptop. And I have this long VGA cable, which I bought a while ago. I can't remember why. I bought it and never used it. I think the use case might have disappeared or something, whatever the reason was, but I kept it anyways. Figuring one day I'll use it, and I was correct. So it has the audio cable on it, which it's got a decent length to it, but I don't think that it's long enough to go into the thing here. Now, I also don't believe that this has any 2.5-inch stereo inputs. No, it doesn't. So I'm going to have to get a female to female, 2.5-inch stereo, or this is a 3.5 inch stereo, and then the other end is going to have to be RCA. Unless I can use, I'm not sure how this port works on the television set. There's a digital audio port on the television set, the bottom right. So I don't know if that's like, we'll take the audio in and turn it into Digitan audio and send it back out, or what. I have no idea. We can try it and see if maybe perhaps that's what that is. That would be pretty cool if it's like a pass-through kind of thing, but I don't know. So we'll go and plug in the VGA cord, and I'm going to screw it in this time. I usually don't screw these in, but I'm going to screw it in this time because it seems like it could fall out pretty easily. And then the theory becomes that you just stick this in here and there's your audio in. So we should in theory get sound out of the television set now. So, yeah. There is a headphone jack here, which we may have to end up using that as an output, because I probably have I almost definitely will have a stereo 3.5 to RCA, or whatever those things are called. It's been so long since I've used those, I really don't remember what they're called. What I need is the same thing I have over here. It's the same kind of cord. It's a stereo 3.5 to, I think it's RCA, left and right audio, whatever it's called. That's what I need. So let's see. Well, I gotta do two things. I gotta see how this works, and then I gotta go and sometimes there's like a quality reduction when you go through this kind of stuff, so I'd rather this just go straight into there. I'm gonna have to buy a new cable for that. Let me go take a look around and see what kind of cables I can find that may work in this case. I found what I think we need to make this work. I have the I have the, whatever this is, audio, which will go into here and give us these two ports, and then I have, this is a, so got us another thing on there, but this will, I believe this will work. It'll give us stereo audio, I think. And then we'll put this into the headphone jack with a 90 degree on there so it's clean. And then this we'll put into here for now. And hopefully that works. I kind of want to try the digital audio just out of curiosity. So let's go ahead and power everything on, and then we're going to try to learn how this works. Okay, so I'm going to I'll move it later. And let's turn everything on first and see how it behaves. I don't have the remote control for this television set, which is one of the reasons why I don't want to use the audio from the television set itself. I was also told that the audio from the television set just isn't very good. So, we get the computer out. We'll boot up the computer and let's see what we get as far as audio goes. Hopefully that computer's got a charge to it. If not, we'll have to charge it up. So we'll turn the TV on. And we're going to change the source to VGA, which I think it's already on. And I'll go ahead and plug in the computer. Television set is saying no signal. So let's get this plugged in. And this particular computer does not have a VGA connection that I really like. It's kind of super flaky the way the cable fits in, but it's working. So I'll log in now. And let's see where the sound comes out. Probably nowhere because the headphone jack is plugged in. So let's unplug the headphone jack. I feel very welcome. Okay, the computer is loading up. So the audio came out of the computer, which makes sense because I didn't plug in the audio cord on the computer yet. So I'll plug it in now, hopefully it reaches. Okay, it's plugged in now. Grab my Ethernet cable and plug in the computer so it can gain access to the network. Now it should be able to gain access to the network drives. I don't know why it's got the yellow triangle on there. Certainly shouldn't have the yellow triangle on there. Oh, that's why it looks kind of blurry. Because it's not, it's on duplication mode, so I think it's taken the resolution of the computer screen. Geez, does it really not have a connection? Wonder why it's not working. It always works just fine. That's not very useful. I just used the internet a few moments ago, so I don't understand why it's not working anymore. That's odd. This is the first glitch I've had. Okay, now it's working. So that was something funny with the computer. Oh, that's such a good concert right there. Okay. So now the audio is coming out of the television set.
Don't worry about it. This one's on me. No, I got the next one. So you're rich now? No, he's not rich. He's happy hour rich. Is that 3 to 6 p.m. rich? 3 to 6 bones rich. You guys got Joe. He's 3 to 6 bones. Hey, Mr.
Yeah, it does sound a little tinny, but nothing crazy. It's not terrible.
Yeah. Cadê ele? Sapateiro, go! El gobierno de Zapatero. Pues igual que yo. ¿Y qué opina usted? ¿Qué opina usted del gobierno canario? ¿Y de los ayuntamientos de la isla?
Oh dear. It's got an awful hum to it now. Well, I think, well, he told me the audio was no good, so I think we'll just cancel the audio because it's irrelevant. Well, now let's go ahead and I want to plug this this Digitan audio port in and see what it does. Because if that works, then I don't have to buy any more cables. Which would be great, because then I don't have to spend any more money. I don't think that that's an output. I think this is not going to work, but we'll see. Looks like this is still working. It's good. It's on the radio, but there's no antenna. Input mode. We need CD. CD would be the Digitan audio. Let's see if anything plays when I put it on the computer. I don't think this will work, but let's just see. Nope, it's still playing through the computer. Okay, so now let's try something that I think will actually work, and that is the headphone jack into the right into the amplifier. So we'll put this into that's not the cable I want to use. I'll put this cable into, let's call it DTV cable, even though it's not what this is at all, but that's fine. And then we'll stick this in the headphone jack, which it has stopped making it sound, so it's definitely feeding audio to the headphone jack now. I just hope it doesn't transmit that awful noise through the through the jack. It may. It does. It's got that awful sound. So I don't know why that is. Not as bad. it's something with the set itself, because now I've unplugged it and it's still making the sound. So okay, so I'm gonna have to figure out how to take the television set completely out of the picture, as far as the audio is concerned. So, although it wasn't doing that until I did that reset, so I don't know, something funny might have happened there. Anyways, I'm gonna look around and see what other cables I have. I came up with this, which is a, well, actually we don't need that, that's extraneous. This takes the 3.5 stereo, turns it into quarter stereo, which goes into here, which converts it to whatever that's called. And so we're only going to have one side of the audio, but this will at least give us a conceptual test. This adapter is super flaky, it always has been. If we get sound, let me get something playing and see if we have sound or not. Gotta change this to that's on the right input. Let's see if we get any sound. Maybe not. Well, I don't know if this adapter is bad or what, but we're not getting any sound. So, I have something else. I want to check this cable and make sure this cable isn't crummy, because maybe that's the problem. To get something else that I'm trying to think of what else I have that would just a basic speaker or something. I don't have anything on hand that will make this work, so I just order the correct cable and we'll just wait and see. I wish I could test the audio somehow, but I just don't have the right cable. So I went and I got an HDMI cable, and we're going to check the audio. What I'll do is I'll put this back here into the headphones. And where's that other cable that I had? Oh no. Where's the other cable? Oh great. Let's just see if this configuration works with HDMI. It's not how I want to use it, but just for the sake of curiosity. Huh. It's already got the hum. Well, this isn't even connected, so I think it's safe to say that the hum is within the television set. So I guess there's no reason to do any further testing. So the hum, unless it goes away when you go off of PC input, which doesn't make any sense. So maybe if we go to HDMI, it'll go away. Let's go to HDMI 1. Oh, it's still there. Okay, never mind. It doesn't go away. Well, that's it. We're done here until we get the cables, because I can't do anything further without the cables. It's kind of it's extremely agitating, but that's what it is. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna turn the internal speaker off, and we'll just completely avoid the television set entirely for audio, and we'll just feed right into the amplifier.